Hey Virginia, the other 49 states in the country called and they'd like you to switch your lights from automated to weight-based and sensor-based, please. Oh, that's a good looking truck right there, isn't it, guys? This is the outside of the 2016 Silverado HD. It's sitting on the optional 18-inch chrome wheels, which kind of brighten it up a little bit, keep it from looking too dull. It's not the basic wheel package. But walking up to it, it's got a nice mix of chrome and body color, although the sunlight is kind of being a pain in the butt. Coming to the front here, you'll see that even though it is a 16, it has the old front end on it, which is very typical of heavy duties following about a year behind the standard vehicles. So, full four-door truck. I don't know why I couldn't say those words out loud. Very shiny chrome wheels. It's almost a little gaudy in my opinion, but you know, I'm not a truck owner, so. This one has a drop-in bed liner, but that's easily remedied by pulling that out and putting on a spray-in bed liner. That feature is pretty nice to have, especially on a work truck, because you never know what kind of load you're going to be carrying, and most of the time if your hands are full and you just drop the tailgate, it's going to go wham. So now it's not going to go wham, so you don't have to worry about George Michael jumping out of the back. Big trailer hitch, because you can tow up to 18,000 pounds with this truck. Of course, locking tailgate, so if you had a hard tonneau cover on there, you could protect your tools and whatnot. And you've got your towing different pin connectors, as well as a place for a raccoon to live. Look how big that is. You could stuff little kids in there. Not that you would, because then your exhaust would back up and then you'd have problems. But yeah, I like this truck. If it was mine, what I would do is I'd probably put in the rear wheel well liners, which also helps protect in here because it keeps the mud out of the inside of the rear box wells, as well as I'd probably order one with the Z71 packages if it's available, in order to keep the underside protected on the job site. So yeah, let's climb inside of it and see what you think of it, and then we'll look at the engine and go for a drive. Okay, so here we are on the inside of the 2016 Duramax Diesel 2500 HD Crew Cab. As you can see, it's very similar to even the half-ton trucks, which is fine. It's supposed to be familial. So, as is common with these trucks, it is fairly optioned out. This one, however, doesn't have navigation, but we knew that when we bought this vehicle because we went with it as a heavy duty with the Duramax and the Allison transmission, so you don't need as many toys because this is kind of a work vehicle, but it still has a few toys in it. It does have Android Auto and Apple CarPlay in it. All you do is you hook up your USB cable to your phone and you can project onto there. Of course, you have OnStar Nav if you're an OnStar subscriber, and you can stream your audio, Bluetooth, all that normal stuff, and have a good time with it. Down here you have a few controls. You of course have your traction control, cargo light, and exhaust brake. Exhaust brake is important on a diesel vehicle because it allows it to use the compression, and diesel engines run at a very high compression ratio to slow down the vehicle without having to downshift or apply the brakes, which is better for when you're hauling cargo. Now, the Silverado, Colorado, and the Impala are the only three vehicles that Chevrolet currently still produces with a CD player. Don't know why. I guess through their marketing and questions and surveys and whatever they do, they determine that Silverado owners and high-level car owners prefer to still have a CD player. Is it calling them old? Probably, but what can you do? If you look down here, you just have a standard open little place to put your phone or your gloves. Got a power port down there. In the center armrest, you don't have anything but a couple of USBs, an aux, and another power port. So here in the center stack, you've got a bunch of different gauges, which is your common configurable screen. However, on this truck, because it's a diesel, you have a couple of extra things. Not the fuel gauge, not the oil life, not the tire pressure monitor, not that one, but ones like this, the fuel filter life monitor. Diesels have more issues with needing the fuel filters replaced than gasoline engines do. Sometimes the fuel can gel up and jam up the fuel filter. Sometimes the fuel filter can just get clogged due to particulates. Diesel fuel is not cleaned nearly as much as gasoline is. That's why it's so much thicker when you see it coming out of the pump, and that's why it gels up. The filters need more replacing than they would on a gasoline engine. The next one here is the diesel exhaust fluid level. Now, most US domestic diesels require a urea injection system to clean up the diesel emissions. As of last year, I'm not sure if they've added it this year, but as of last year, Ram was the only company that did not require a DEF fluid to meet emissions. Now they also have a different engine. They have the inline 6 built by Cummins, so it might just be producing less emissions because it has fewer cylinders. So there's that. But the DEF fluid is important because if your fluid gets too low, your vehicle will eventually go into a limp mode. So when you see that warning coming up saying, hey, you've got 500 miles before it needs to be filled, you should probably fill it. Otherwise you could be out in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of like Wyoming, and be 700 miles from a station that sells DEF fluid, and you'll be limping at 40 miles an hour. So don't do that to yourself. Keep track of that, kids. 5.5 miles to the gallon. Jesus, is this the 70s? But yeah, steering wheel controls, very common. Multi-way controller, voice controls, phone controls, cruise controls, lighting controls, I almost said exhaust brake controller, but trailer brake controller, and standard power windows and locks, and that's about it. No wireless charging or anything. But yeah, let me jump in the back and we will keep going. So this has to be the roomiest cab in the Chevrolet lineup. Yes, it is a very big truck. Yes, it is a very expensive truck. However, it's not as expensive as you might think. Believe it or not, getting an LT crew cab all-wheel drive is about 60 grand. Now, you could spend 60 grand on a half-ton with the max trailing package and not be able to haul as much as this, but you wouldn't have this kind of room because front seats in my driving position, I have a full 4-finger width. It's a lot of scotch. Full 4-finger width of room. And of course, it's got a center armrest here, so that's good. Although it's a little compromised by the cup holders, but that's fine. Solid rear glass. I don't know if they did that on purpose just to keep the cost down, or if that's the way this one was just built for us by Chevrolet. I'm not sure if we picked this one or not. Let's see, the options on this one. $9,000 for the Duramax, which the only thing you probably could have gotten away without adding were the chrome wheels on the vehicle. That was $1,300. If you take that off, then you're at about $57,000. That's not bad. So yeah, I think it's not a bad price if you're looking for a work truck, because this is the kind of truck you're going to drive and make money with. Be awesome for a plow truck, be awesome for a sander, whatever you want to use it for. Although you couldn't put a big sander since it's just a short box, but what can you do? So yeah, I could be so comfortable back here on a long trip. This is as comfortable as the front seat to me. But as you can see, seeing how far away we are from each other, plenty of room, you don't have to worry about crowding in. And since it is a bench front seat, you can carry 6 people in this vehicle. Center guy might be a little bit less comfortable, but who cares? You're the new guy if you're sitting in the center. So here you go. This is the Duramax's 6.6 liter engine. It is a pretty beefy unit, makes 397 horsepower, 765 foot-pounds of torque. Now that doesn't sound like a lot when you compare it to Ford or Dodge, but it still is more than enough to pull around any load that you're going to need to outside of having a commercial driver's license. So yes, it makes less power than the Ford and less power than the Ram, but it's also safer power as you're not taxing the engine to... Okay, so we've talked about it. Now let's go for a drive, okay? Now, one thing I want to point out is that this vehicle is capable of towing 18,000 pounds. Is it 33,000 pound like everybody else? No, but when the hell are you going to be towing 33,000 pounds with a freaking 3/4 ton truck? Come on, people. Anyways, I love the Allison transmission, and I really do respect the Duramax now. The old Duramaxes were a joke, because technically I wouldn't even say they were actually Duramaxes. They were crap. Hey, we get to see how reverse works since I don't have a way out. I will say that this particular truck is missing the rear view camera, and that would probably be something beneficial on this truck since it's probably going to be used at the work site. But when you've been doing this as many years as I have, it's pretty much second nature to back up using your mirrors. He says as he rolls over a Ferrari 458 Speciale. Cars and Coffee reference? Bueller? Okay. First impressions. Because it's not loaded down with, 6,000 pounds of crap in the back, it rides very stiff. As the British say, I'm going to give it some welly. Things I like about the truck. I like the power. I like the way it rides. I like the way it feels. I'm not one of those guys that gets into a 3/4 ton or a 1 ton truck and expects it to ride like a luxury vehicle. I know it's not going to. There's no chance of that. You can't do that and haul the kind of loads that these vehicles can haul. Haul? Haul. It's on the haul. It's a nice vehicle on the haul. This is an LT, so it's not a penalty box. It's not overly expensive. If this vehicle was a gasoline engine vehicle, it'd be about 50 grand. And for a work truck, not terrible. How you guys doing? Red light. Red lights are always a pain in the ass. So, like I said, we'll get on it just a touch and see what she does. Yeah, she does the job. As I was saying, under the hood, it only makes about 400 horsepower, but it makes 765 foot-pounds of torque. Let me put the power that this truck makes into perspective. It makes so much torque, it actually makes more foot-poundage of torque than a Mercedes-Benz SL65, or even the G-Class with the 63 or the 65. 765 foot-pounds is insane. Think back to when these vehicles had the 6.5 or when the 12-valve Cummins came out, and all these vehicles were just starting to make over 400 foot-pounds of torque, 500 foot-pounds of torque. And now you have the Fords, and I'm going to throw this out there because it's an absolute truth. The new Ford Power Stroke makes 900 plus foot-pounds of torque. I think it was like, what, 935 or 960? That is absolutely insane to be trying to throw through a transmission like that. Even the Allison, I think, would eventually succumb to 965 foot-pounds of torque. Although I've heard about guys tuning these things up to like 1,500 foot-pounds of torque with the stock transmission. I think they have to swap out the torque converters, but still, that's crazy when you think about it. And these will haul heavier loads than anything that you're going to get in the half-ton class, while still getting a similar gas mileage, even though it is fuel, to the gasoline-equipped vehicles. It's almost a no-brainer if you know for a fact you're going to be hauling a lot of heavy loads, especially since diesel is no longer $5 a gallon. Now, I know some places fuel is a little bit higher still than it is here in Virginia. For example, right now it's $2.19 a gallon for diesel. That's not bad because, again, you have the economy of this diesel to compensate, plus it's got a huge tank. I think it's a 36-gallon tank in this one. So let's say that you're getting 20 miles to the gallon because you're babying it and driving it like a normal person. That's almost 700 miles per tank. It's actually a little bit more, but you don't want to run a diesel dry. In terms of noise inside the cabin, it's not much louder than a standard gasoline engine vehicle. In terms of my steering, it feels just like the regular trucks, so you don't compromise in that respect. I would definitely suggest looking at one of these if you need to haul heavy loads. Now, I'm not a huge fan of design by committee. What I mean by that is you take a small focus group, 15, 20, 30 people, and then you start asking them what they want on their truck, and then they modify that truck, and then all of a sudden it only appeals to 14% of the people that want to buy trucks because that small group they happen to pick just happen to all be very similar in what they wanted in a vehicle. The only thing that is a positive out of all that is, yes, diesels are much quieter than they used to be, with the exception of the Ram Cummins diesel, because that still sounds like a washer full of rocks. a shout out to Camaro Boy Z28. Number one, he's the one that won the gift card for the bad joke. But number two, he's the one that mentioned that I should do a review on a heavy duty. And quite honestly, I just never really even thought about it. I don't know why, it just didn't occur to me to do one on the heavy duty, because I did a couple on half tons, a V6 and a V8, and I've done a Colorado diesel, so I still have to do a Colorado gas as well. But I just figured, hey, you know, that's a great idea. It never even occurred to me. I was looking at cars to do again. So thank you so much for the suggestion. I don't know why I didn't do it sooner. Probably because, don't hate me, I'm not really a truck guy. You know, I prefer my cars low, lean, and wide. So a truck doesn't always catch my brain in terms of, hey, why don't you do a video on that? Because, you know, unlike you, half the world likes trucks. Brakes. Brakes are very good on this truck. This truck stops no problem. Nothing really further to say there. It has brakes. It stops. End of story. Going around a nice little curve way too fast. Woo, there's a lot of play in the front end there. Oh, Camaro, she ain't. I'll tell you that much. Yeah, you don't want to do too many panic maneuvers with a big ass truck like this. Number one, she's not going to like doing them. And number two, you're probably going to break the tires loose or cause an accident. So, pulling back into the dealership now, and I would like to take a second to thank Manassas Chevrolet. That's the company I work for. I'm not wearing the shirt today because it's a holiday and I wasn't required to. And I would like to also say that if you are in the market for a truck, by all means, give all three companies a look. I know that I work for Chevrolet and I really do like the truck, but I'm also, again, not the guy that's going to tell you what to buy. I can make a suggestion that this is a great choice, and it is. But I'm not going to sit there and say, if you don't buy it, you can't subscribe to me, because that's the wrong way to do things. Plus, if I suggest a vehicle to you and you hate it, you'll never watch me again. So, would I recommend the vehicle? Yes. Would I force you to buy it? No. So, there you go. That is my review of the 2016 heavy-duty 2500 Chevrolet Silverado LT with the Duramax and the Allison transmission. If you have any questions, leave them down below. If you have any comments, leave those down below. If you want to know anything specific that I didn't cover, just let me know that as well. I'd be happy to do a follow-up video. I've done them before, only once or twice, but I have done them. And I'd be happy to answer any questions you have. So until the next time we speak, we will speak the next time we talk. Sorry, some of these are really bad. I'm just trying to fill time while the lights change. I could stop you, but that would be requiring me to lean over the truck. And I'm sure there's people that are wondering why the hell I'm talking to myself anyway.